Hey, it's Angeline Longshore, and I'm here with Zelis Daniel, and we are live. I need to tell you, we are live on Be Live for the very, very first time. So I'm just trying to figure out this platform again. It's been a while. It's been a while since I've used Be Live TV, and it's Zelis's very first time.
My first time.
Yeah,
Yeah, trying this.
live. Yeah, so this is conversations with men that women would want to hear. And we're talking about things that are so important to us because we know that there are a lot of men out there who are experiencing the same thing. And so I've tapped into the wisdom of Zelis Daniel here because he is a dad who's going through a lot of stuff because women are so independent today, because women have come through this culture and it's not their fault that there's a dynamic happening amongst men and women, and that is hurting families. So we're talking about that today, the independent nature of women and what's happening with men. So I brought in Zealous because you're going through a separation.
Yep.
You're experiencing some heavy stuff. Like at the moment, you have 3 children and twins, young twins, and a toddler child.
Yep.
So it's you're full on in it at this moment.
Yep.
So it's very deep, and that's why we're going to talk about what it's doing to the modern father. So, but what I want to talk about first is what is this independent nature of women? And so, do you want to chime in about that, or do you want me to explain it?
Yeah, no, I think that that's definitely something that's like really happening a lot, and I think that there's a lot going on. I can see where the driving force is. I think that like there's this attitude for women wanting equality, in the workplace and in equal pay. And I see that that desire and that need, and I think that there's like this element that is kind of being overlooked, that it's like women can do everything a man can do, but a man can't do everything a woman can do, and I think that we have these ornate characteristics and strengths for a reason, and they've developed, like women can make babies, men can't. Our contribution is just a few minutes of fun, and the women have to work on this project for 9 months, but really it's years to and that's a strength that they're going to be better at. So I think that we have this whole like quest for equality and the rising empowerment of women, and I have 2 daughters. Like I'm have previously kind of been a bit of a feminist, but I'm kind of seeing now that I've been in this relationship with this strong independent woman who's like, I'm done with you, this is over, end of story. And it's like I'm like, I feel like I've been such this awesome modern father. I'm a self-employed artist. I don't have a big career job or a big education, but I've had a flexible schedule, and I've always made putting time for my kids as the number one. And I feel like I've been super supportive to this whole process of raising my kids. And I'm just kind of like amazed that my partner would just be like, I'm not happy with you. You're not happy. We need to end this relationship. And it's like, what are you talking about? You can't say whether I'm happy or not. I can tell you're not happy because every time I come home, you complain and, talk about how difficult it is. And, then I try to provide some solutions and realize that that is not really what she wants. She doesn't want to hear solutions. She wants to hear like, that sucks, honey. Like, you go get a pedicure, like, what do you want to do? Like, so it's been a really rough thing. And I see that a lot of it, I think, is just kind of like influenced where like, I'm very different than my father. I cook, I clean, I change diapers. If I hear the kids wake up in the middle of the night, it's my turn, like whoever. It's been a rough couple of years when you have twins. We don't have any family in town. And I feel like it's been challenging, but it's also, with that challenge, has given me some of the most beautiful, amazing moments. Like anything difficult, you get through it, and then you feel good about it, and you appreciate just sitting there on the ground and watching your kid figure out how to use a spoon.
Yeah, you're an
Like
amazing
that's my happiness.
dad. So, if you don't
So,
know, Zealous is actually my husband's cousin. So, I've seen him as a dad. I've seen him as a single guy, and I've seen him as a dad. And the amount of time and energy and love and because you have the flexible schedule, but also because who you are, you put so much into supporting your family. And it's so beautiful to watch. And I think this is the modern dad. I see it all the time.
yeah,
I see these dads at
I think
school. They're fully supporting the family by driving, taking care, letting the
going
wife
to the doctor's
driving, but
appointments.
go do your thing, go to the spa, go get a massage, go see your friends, have fun. And they're really like you. I've seen you just like fully supporting. I mean, and so that to me is this phenomenon that's happening. It's like we've got these amazing men who are so like very into supporting feminism, I guess you could say, like the woman who has their thing they want to do, they're strong, they're smart. And the woman, what I see is she has this feeling like, this is my time. Like I've got to like fulfill feminism, the feminine promise. And so the men are like, yeah, go girl, do it. And the women are go girl, do it. And then what happens though is the man falls by the wayside into a role that, you try to fulfill, but but it's not like a team effort anymore, right? I mean,
No, it totally feels like the situation almost for me where it's just he's like, I'm done with you, and it's this like kind of dynamic where it's like, I don't need your help, I can do this on my own. But then right now I'm in a custody battle trying to figure out finances, and it's like, well, I don't. She says she doesn't need me, doesn't want me, but then still is like, you need to pay rent and I need child support, and I'm like, we were getting by barely on as a family, and now to have to like move out of the house, and I had a home studio as well, so I've had to like pay double rent. I'm taking care of my kids and my family, and then still buying diapers and helping out as well. She would take care of the bills. She works a couple days of the week as a hairdresser, and so I would take care of the big bills. And yeah, so to get hit with court papers, and it's like, this whole, you still need my money, and you don't seem super happy because complaining about the stress of being the primary caregiver of the kids, where I'm able to like now be able to sleep for more than 6 hours at a time, which has been wonderful. But it's also like, I'm laying in bed last night going, she has no idea what my life is like right now. It's like I come home to this rented room in a cold house because they have to keep the heat down, and I have, fall asleep by myself, and I wake up by myself, and it's like I'm working 12-hour days, and it's like I don't have the love and support. And then when I get to spend time with my kids, I want to go and like have fun, and it becomes this situation where it's like now I'm the fun parent, so she's like, I'm not okay with this, you can't be the fun parent and just come in here and take the kids out for ice cream, and and it's like,
what do you
either
want?
one of us could be the fun parent. I'm just, this is my time with my kids, and so I'm going to do something fun with them. And it's
And she asked for the
my
separation.
that's where my challenge is it's like, I trying to give her space in hopes that like she would appreciate how much I do, and instead it's been like turned around where it's like, I that was honestly my thought. It's like, okay, like you need your space, I'll move out, you'll appreciate how much help I've given you and support, and maybe you'll be like, you know what, honey, like I totally miss having you around, and this is challenging. But no, it's like now it's my turn. It's like, and I think there's this kind of like element of like, of not wanting to play for the team. It's like she's in it for me. Like I need my time, I need my money, I need my, and it's like, hey, we are a family. We're a family dynamic. We need to like work to support each other. I don't feel like she was super supportive of my work because she was, needing help, which is understandable with 3 kids and no family around. But then it's like, so I would give her my time, and over time it kind of was like, yeah, I can help you out, but she could send. I'm giving off the impression of like, you're cutting into my work time, which I need in order to pay our bills. You want us to get ahead, but you also want my time. There's only so much time and money that they're the same thing, and there's only so many hours in the day. Neither one of us are getting enough sleep. We're at wit's end, and I'm okay with it. She's the one that's like not okay with it. It's like you wanted kids half of your life, and now you have kids and you're like, this is tons of work. And it's like, well, it is, but then and we're also cresting over as the kids are getting a little older. But yeah, it's like this whole dynamic of like just being in it for me, like her happiness is the most important thing. It's like,
Yeah.
actually, my happiness is not the most important thing. I'm not doing anything to support my happiness. I'm getting my happiness from what's available, which is watching my kids grow and taking them for bike rides to the park. And
Yeah, I want to
so,
backtrack a little bit because people probably don't know what it was like during the time you were together. I mean, now we're in a separation phase,
I
but
can't hear your audio.
oh, okay. Can you hear me better?
There's nothing there.
Oh, there's nothing there. Okay, let me see what happened. Let me see. Not hearing me. Are you
There
hearing
we
me?
go. You came back. Yep.
Okay, I came back. Okay, so I'm sorry about that. I want to backtrack to so you can hear me now? Okay.
Yep, you're good.
I want to backtrack to when you were together because
Mhm.
you're in separation phase right now, but there's a lot of people out there who maybe want to, they can relate to your story of when you were together and it was the same thing, basically. I mean, it's basically where you were doing all the support and trying to give her time. And, this is not just her. So, I'm speaking to her because maybe she's looking at this saying, why are you guys talking about me? Now, it's not necessarily about you. And I don't know if I should say her name or not, but, Zelis's partner, it's really about this is the independent nature of women. And so what happens is women feel like it's their time. And so during this time that you were together, she felt like her focus was, like, I got to get mine. And,
Mhm.
and it's everything, whether it's her time alone, whether it's time with friends, whether it's her career, and this expectation that you are going to support and that you should be patient rather than the team effort. And
Yeah.
to me, that's the whole thing that is missing here.
And I just kind of had this thought too while you're talking of like, I think that in the society that we have where people are having children later, it's like women are having careers and jobs and they're used to having their independent life. And then they have a kid and, that you're at home with the kids and they see their partner that's got the job and is going out and they get restless and it's like, what, I used to have this life where I had my own income and I had my own social life. And I think that that's probably another part of the dynamic is not just necessarily this rise of female empowerment, but it's also the situation of like, you have 30 somethings that have already had this outlet, and then when they don't have it, they're not appreciating, oh wait, like this is my time to be a mother and to nurture my children, and in another 10 years my kids are not going to want to have anything to do with me, so let's just spend this, let's embrace this time. Instead it's like, I think they're getting restless, in a very short amount of time, being less than a year, where it's like they see their partner going out and they're like, I want that too. I miss having my money, and it's like, this is what a family is about.
Yeah, that's where I say that it's not the woman's fault, really. It's that culture has it's can you hear me? No sound? That again. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, that's so weird. I don't know what's going on with this platform, but somehow he's not hearing me. I don't know if you're not hearing me, but anyway, so what I see the problem is not necessarily the woman herself, the individual woman, but this is where culture has put us. Culture has
Mm-hmm.
put us in this place where before, when women were not in the workplace, not that we want to go back there, but that it was a given. So she didn't have to wrestle with this feeling of irrelevance. I mean, and that's what it is first you feel like you're so independent. You're told you can be president of the United States if you want to. And so you pursue just like men, and you pursue harder than men because you are told you have to. And you put so much of yourself into that. And then suddenly you're like, oh, what? Like now I have to give my identity up, that part of myself. And so there's a wrestling inside. But because society tells us that we're supposed to fulfill that, ability to be president or whatever we want to do, and that men are supposed to support us, it sets us up. It sets women up, it sets men up, and that's the dynamic. So it's not that women are doing things purposefully necessarily. We're just falling into this trap that's set up for families to fail. And no one's talking about it. That's why we're talking about it here.
Yeah, we need to talk about it because everybody's going to figure out what's going to be right for them. There's going to be some people and some families that, it might be better for the dad to stay at home with the kid while the woman pursue the career, or, but it's everybody's just got to figure out what's right for them, and we got to talk about it because I feel like the struggle has been so real for me, and I think that it's kind of comes from not talking about it. There's like this whole situation of like wanting equality where, women want equality, but they still want me to pay for the meal and to open the door. And, it's like, you want equality, but then do you want to go and take me out for a day? Or like, how do we figure out this? We have these social norms that women like, and we're expected to do that. If I take somebody out on a date and I don't pick up the tab, it's like, that wasn't a date, like, that's that.
Yeah. Well, the problem for women with that situation is that women say they want certain things, say it's equality or say it's something, but they don't know that men take that literally. Like when men say something, they say it loud and clear. They state what they need and what they mean. Women don't state what they need and mean. They make a blanket statement, but they expect you to infer all those nuances. And they're like, well, why wouldn't he know that? They talk to each other behind your back and they're like, well, why wouldn't he know that I really want him to open the door? And that, of course. But when we say, women, that we want equality, a man takes it literally like, okay, equal in the bedroom. That means you're going to be the aggressor. That means you're going to pay for the bill. That means you're going to do the heavy lifting or take the garbage out or whatever it is that you expect men to do. Mm-hmm. So the problem is that women and men are built differently, and so women expect men to be like women in that being able to sense what you really mean. that doesn't happen. I mean, you can sense some. I'm not.
Yeah. No, men can read signs when they're big and bold, right. And it's like, it's a funny one too, with the current Me Too movement and the things where men are like scared to like hit on women. Like, I'm afraid, it's like one of these situations of like, like, do I ask somebody if I can kiss them, And I've like had conversations with female friends that it's like, well, you should ask, but then that's not really sexy. We kind of want a masculine man that's just gonna,
well, I call it
grab us and sweep us off our feet, So it's like, yeah, and that's something that, like in this day and age, it's like men are intimidated to flirt with women because it's like, I don't want to create this awkwardness. And it's funny, like talking to my partner's mother a year or two ago, and she's like, you know what? Like, I think this is all a bunch of bullshit, In my day and age, if I went out to a party or a club and somebody didn't grab my butt, I didn't feel good about myself. You know what I mean? Like, that's like what men do, and like we expect it. That's why we wear revealing clothing, is to get that attention. And now it's like, don't look at me, because just because I'm wearing something sexy doesn't give you the right to just look at me like that, And it's like, it's a double standard,
Totally. I think the Me Too movement, and women are going to hate me for saying this, really has hurt the dynamic between men and women, because it strangles men, and then we need that play, we need that flirtatious experience.
We just need men to have the awareness that, like, don't be doing that shit inappropriately.
Well,
Like
yeah.
when you're in the same numbers game, then it's flirtatious. When you have, you know, a gross, film producer groping actresses, that's bad. Like, but there's an element that's playful, that's flirtatious. You know what I mean? It's like it's that little cat and mouse game that creates that, like, the woman feels desired and the men feels like, yeah, she played back. You know what I mean? It's like I threw out a compliment and she didn't just walk away, or whatever the situation is. It's like that's how you feel out whether or not, like, you have something with somebody that's a stranger. So
Mhm.
it's like, and men are also like, we've been told it's a numbers game. Like, you have to keep trying. Don't be discouraged if a woman isn't interested in you. Like,
You got to feel it
you'll,
out.
you got to feel it out, and it's true, but it's also not necessarily a fun experience. So men have just overcome it. It's like, you know what? Like, don't get hung up on rejection. That's what men are taught. You got to just keep trying, and it's okay. And but then in turn, we have some men taking it too far, and that is the area that it needs to be stopped, and using their power and leverage to try to manipulate situations. But
Mhm.
then the flip side is it's like, you know, if you're an attractive guy with your shit together on some level, you shouldn't be shamed for trying to, you know, um, culminate an intimate relationship with someone you don't know.
Right. I have to say that, I'm going to preface what I say with, I have been me too'd in a sense. So I totally get it, women. But at the same time, I want to say that flirting or playing, that playful attitude, is not just between men and women. It's between, I think, I flirt with children. I flirt with grandparents. It's a playful nature that we need to keep alive, to have
It's
fun in
some,
the world,
it's just,
and
yep,
it's
just,
also, I'm sorry, it's also an American phenomenon that this is kind of happening, because in France there was a whole, like, there was like this, I don't know, group who they're saying it's ridiculous, and also there's people in other countries who are like, okay, that's so horrible what this movement is doing to men in America, and they're not saying it really loudly, but they're having conversations about it, because women know in these other countries that that play has to exist
yeah.
for natural things to happen. Otherwise, men are fully emasculated. And that's
And
what
it's,
going back to the independent nature of women is doing. So go ahead.
and it makes you feel good. Like, going out to a few social gatherings now that I've become single, it's like not necessarily feeling how to not feeling at place, with a bunch of other single people or at a party, and then having an attractive female flirt with me. It's like instantly I'm like, oh, okay, this party's fun. I went from wallflowering it to, like, a little bit of energy. Like, we need that. Like, oh, I can go and put this out there, and then recognizing, oh yeah, like, being single is fun. Like, go up and start dancing with somebody, even if, like, there's no, like, desire there, just to have playful fun. And it's like, that's,
Yeah.
we need to we need to feel comfortable and safe to do that, because otherwise it's like, otherwise everybody's just looking at everybody. You're in a social environment with real people, and it's like looking through Instagram. Like,
Right.
we have to be able to, like, be real.
Exactly. Yeah, I think we've merged into this topic because it's ridiculous, and men know it, but women don't. And I think that's the big picture of this independent nature of women. And it's not just being independent, but I'm calling it that because I don't know right now what else to call it. But we've come into this day and age where things are just warped in our relationship, where they don't work. They really are not
Mhm.
working. And so, I don't want to go on too long, because we can talk about this forever, and we will talk more about this topic, Me Too, all of that, because there's so much to talk about. And, and I think there's even more to talk about the independent nature and why it's ruining marriage. But I do want to say before we wrap up is there is, I think, a solution to this happening that we just talked about as far as teams, like not being on the same team. And so,
Yeah.
if you don't mind, I just want to explain that.
No, please. I
Okay,
feel like there's
so
another element too of like how it's affecting the family and the kids and like
yeah, which we can do another
but
show on that because we actually didn't get into that and we're kind of running out of time. I don't want to go too long. But anyway, so when marriages come together, usually people think of the marriage as 50-50 and then you cover the whole. Well, that to me is a conditional nature. It's like, I'm going to do my half if you do your half. And if you don't do your half, then I'm going to resent you, or I'm like, where's my, I already did my half. So what about you? So I, yeah, I'm sure you
yeah.
felt that before in your, discussions with your partner. So I think of it as if we can think of it as the team effort, not that we each do 100%, but if we do 80 and 80, then we have still 20 left for ourselves to self-care and whatever we need to do, for our own purposes. But if we have 80, then there's that 30% extra, I do the math, that we feel held, that we feel like, wow, I feel so supported. I feel like he's doing more than half, more than his share, and it motivates me to really give more. So I see that as the team dynamic that marriages actually have to start off with. Or even
Mm-hmm.
if you don't, if you have this realization to go, let's get on the same side. Because otherwise, you are really 50-50 and like doing this tug of war with each other. No, I did mine. No, you do yours. And then there's this tit for tat, like keeping score, right?
That's so what's happened. And for us, like getting into the relationship, it's like we both took care of our own needs, and it seemed like, and I don't know if other families at this time can relate to it, but it's just like we paid our own bills, we didn't share money, and it kind of eliminated that like money struggle that I saw in my parents and a lot of families where it's like, and so that was kind of one of those things where I felt like I had a really good chance of making this relationship last forever because we both took care of our own shit. And and then when it became to a situation where you have kids that you're caring for or whatnot, the scales are balanced. A balanced scale goes back and forth real freely. That's what a balanced scale is. A balanced scale is back and forth easily. It's not sitting flat and level on both sides. So
Totally. Yeah, we have so much to talk about, Zealous. We have so
we
much.
do.
This
We do.
conversation is like chock full of like nuggets. So, but I do want to wrap up because there are going to be many more shows, you guys. I hope you're enjoying this. Men, I hope you're watching and let us know if we've hit a chord with any of you on any of these topics and what you want to hear more about. So we'll be here every Thursday and we're on YouTube. We're going to post this on YouTube. So this is a live
Good to go.
show. You can actually let us know what your thoughts are, and we can talk about what your concerns are, maybe even have you on live. So this is Conversations with Men that women would want to hear and should want to hear. I'm Angeline
Yeah.
Longshore and with Zelis Daniel, and we'll see you next week. All
Thank
right.
you.
Let's see. I'm going to pop this other thing in. Okay. There we go.